I thought this would be good for a video. We have the question, will Gen 4 remakes become Game Freak's redemption? So we have the replies to this tweet, we got quote tweets, and then we have the original Reddit post. So it looks like we can get a wide variety of answers, and fortunately, the top comment here makes me feel a little better. At least to me, I don't think anything bad of Pokemon games. I love them just for the franchise. But knowing how the community can be, there is always going to be someone who will dislike something which someone else likes. And then we have this, Lamau No, as the top one. Probably not. So the quote tweets where people want to be the most heard on social media are... Wow, I didn't even scroll. I like scrolled the first two and I was like, well, this video is either going to be just a demoralizing disaster or at least we're going to get something interesting out of it. But man, these quote tweets are horrible and the Reddit post is just as bad. Like, there is no intelligence left on Reddit. Absolutely not, Lamau. Seeing how Pokemon Sword and Shield was rushed, I think if they don't rush Generation 4, it'll be a good game. And at least that's another thing that can come from this video. Clearing up misinformation and people just being idiots. Pokemon Sword and Shield was not rushed. The game was in development for almost 4 years with over 500 people working on it like other Pokemon games. Like, people think that Game Freak actually makes Pokemon games every year in a year when there's multiple teams from multiple companies with hundreds of people working on each Pokemon game simultaneously, or multiple Pokemon games at the same time. So that's why I want to see like where people are going with this. I think they use the DLC as a buffer to get the next games more polished. Once again, if you have an IQ above room temperature, this shouldn't even be in your head. But the Pokemon community has become so toxic and so stupid towards Game Freak, they just believe nonsense. No, like, the DLC was no different than the enhanced version, probably for the amount of work in it. If anything, the DLC might have taken more work to make than an enhanced version, because with the enhanced version, you already have 80% of the assets, and you don't have to develop any more Pokemon, so that's really all that the DLC has done. You know, they had to build the Isle of Armor, they had to build the Ground Tundra, they had to program in all the Pokemon dens and stuff like that, whereas when you look at Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, actually they had to make the Warp Space, and they also had to make Team Rainbow Rocket. So yeah, it's like, it's a decent amount of work put into the games, but it's not going to buy any time. It's how it's always been. Also, there's that interview that was really interesting that it seems like a lot of people have forgotten about. Pokemon for Switch is helped by Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, says Dev. Do I need to like dig up interviews for future videos? This was actually pretty old, over 3 years ago now, which is pretty crazy to think about it. But Omori said that they had a lot of the newer people at Game Freak, like the newer employees at Game Freak, work on Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, so they could have the more experienced devs work on Pokemon Switch, which ended up being Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but also quickly going into the development cycle for Pokemon Sword and Shield as well. And if we go into like all of the leaks and data mining and stuff that's come out about like the source code for Let's Go and Pokemon Sword and Shield, I'm not covering that because I don't want a massive copyright takedown, but does show like how far back these designs go and stuff. It just kind of shows that like the DLC for the Crown Tundra and Isle of Armor, yeah, that's going to have a different staff or a different part of the staff working on it than what we saw with whatever else is coming out, whether it's Gen 4 remakes or a crazy project we can't even predict with Game Freak. And also, I was wrong. It was actually 1,000 staff working on Pokemon Sword and Shield. It was over 500 for Pokemon Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So it's just tons of people working over years to make a polished Pokemon game. I don't know what people, like, just because their entitled needs aren't being just hand catered to, they just blame it up. Game Freak's lazy. Up, the game's rushed. You can't do anything about that. So, but will anything be able to give the experience of Heart Gold or Black and White 2 or even Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire as they currently are? Hard to say. Track record says probably will be mid-tier games, but hopefully, hopes say they'll be pretty great. I don't understand what the track record is for mid-tier games. Pokemon Sword and Shield's one of the best Pokemon games. Pokemon Let's Go is one of the best Pokemon games. And Black and White 2, horrible Pokemon games. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, great. And the funny thing about Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is that, like, over time, I feel like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire have turned out to be the best 3DS era games. So, I mean, like, even fairly recently, even in the 3D era, which is where people are like, oh, Game Freak should have stuck to 2D because 3D is clearly too hard for them to make games. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, amazing. And that's, like, all new assets. That was just a completely fresh game made the year after Pokemon X and Y, showing how the multiple team cycles work. So, yeah, it just seems like entitlement is a massive problem. It's possible Pokemon X and Y... What? Wait, what? When did X and Y upset people on release? Pokemon X and Y was the last time I saw, like, a massive Pokemon renaissance where everyone was playing and enjoying the games for a long time. Like, Pokemon Sun and Moon had a lot of people interested in the games, but none of them stuck to the games once they came out. Especially veterans. ORAS mostly attracted the masses again. Nostalgia always seems to be the key. ORAS performed pretty well, actually. Like, it's starting to gain on Pokemon X and Y in sales. So for, like, a remake game, it's one of the most successful. But I don't understand, like, where the piss off and then... Like, I saw, like, less people generally interested in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire than Pokemon X and Y. But Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is still really good. Honestly hope they need to add something fans love, like Megas. Yep. See, that's it. It should be a redemption. If not, it's going to be one of Game Freak's biggest lets down of all time. They'll ruin something everyone wants and love. Okay, the grammar there just kind of completely sucked at the end, but yeah, see, this is also the big problem. Like it's like Gen 4 remakes, Diamond Pearl remakes, whatever happens here could be the greatest Pokemon games, but if there's no Megas, everyone's gonna get upset about that. Like, if the announcement comes out through all the build-up, then it's gonna be Pokemon Sword and Shield level of hate all over again for absolutely no justified reason. It's really up to what they're willing and able to achieve in stores nationwide. Can you picture it coming to reality in stores? I don't know. When it comes to marketing and choices they make, it's based on reaching newer audiences. It's rare for companies to please fans these days, I think. No? Pokemon Sword and Shield is massive fan service. Even Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee had tons for the veteran players that were just like I loved playing through that game because there's a reimagining of the original games. Like, the marketing didn't do anything for that, and I know that it was supposed to be aimed at a newer audience coming from Pokemon Go, but the marketing didn't change the performance. Where are people getting these ideas? It could be the most polished and innovative game Game Freak has ever made, and they'd still be pissed. There we go. So yeah, that's just gonna be it, huh? They will still be a loud minority. They'll try to make the games look bad. I don't even know if it's minority at this point when you're getting, like, I guess technically, when you have 19 million people buying Pokemon Sword and Shield and several million are pissed off, it's still a minority. But it's not as small as it's made out to be, and it's hurt the Pokemon community quite substantially. Like, I keep saying this, Pokemon is only as strong as its community, and the way that social media works and the way that online works, you know, a lot of the people, like, of the 19 million that buy the Pokemon games, they don't really engage with Pokemon social media, they don't really engage with content creation or any of that culture. So when you're looking at it, you know, we're going to have most of the people engaging online or part of, like, the active community. They're the ones that are upset at Game Freak because they're the ones that are like, Game Freak is bad and lazy and they don't do anything right, and then that just starts burning people off because you want to, like, that's how social media drives the masses. It's a lot of simple people that end up falling into the trend and they believe lies and nonsense, but overall that does a lot of damage to the Pokemon community and how the games perform over time, and that just snowballs downhill instead of building up like what we need from a strong Pokemon community that's making everyone happy and stuff. So I guess, like, a small amount is trying to make the games look bad and that makes them bad, but people are just so refusing of the facts that, yeah, it gets really hard for the games, like, stand up on their own. So, I don't know, the whole loud minority thing, it's just like, nah, a large amount of the Pokemon community has become toxic at this point. As long as Dynamax stays in Galar and Mega Evolutions return, then I'd be happy. I like Generation 8 regardless of national decks and still enjoyed the games despite all the controversy. Well, that's weird, because, like, yeah, you enjoyed it, but then it Megas or else I riot. No, Megas a riot is effectively how Generation 4 is going to go, and that ties down Game Freak way too much. If, like, one small element of the game is going to determine how the entire game is received. So even if they were perfect, plenty of fans wouldn't be happy just because. Honestly, no idea. I feel like they wouldn't need to put that much to win over people, but judging by the past few games, see, this is what I mean. It's like, the internet just makes people stupid. They just believe nonsense, and they go into this derangement. They seem unable to do things for one reason or another. From what I can tell with like the interviews or just the applied game design, most of what Game Freak does is deliberate. Doubt it. Game Freak simply poured too much time and resources into Sword and Shield for the Gen 4 remakes to make their release window and still be good. Sub 80 IQs, man. Can't do anything about them. Along with COVID, even though it hasn't really shown anything from Nintendo to be impacted by COVID at all, pretty much delaying every hype game out there. It didn't. We still got the remakes, or not remakes, we still got the DLC on time. Every Animal Crossing update has still been on time. All of the Smash Fighters DLC has been on time. There haven't been any major, delays announced by Nintendo. Metroid was already, Metroid was in a bad shape before COVID happened. The DP remakes are going to be far worse than, or in a far worse state than Sword and Shield. But again, we saw, how Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon works. But we already know that a majority of the development for whatever game is going to be coming out later this year has already been done before COVID. And then with the DLC and how we see that distributes the workflow, being able to put most of the priority onto the new games, yeah, nonsense. Absolutely no. They'll destroy every fond memory we have with Generation 4, and it's one of the reasons I don't want a remake of those games. So, now we're actually seeing, the anti-hype for the remakes. Everyone wants the remakes, except for probably a large amount of people that are just like, no, they'll actually ruin the remakes, so let's not see them until I feel Game Freak has redeemed themselves. They don't need to redeem anything. Sword and Shield wasn't perfect, but it was still pretty good. The designs were interesting, the music was bopping, the wild area was neat, the characters were fantastic, gym battles were effing amazing. Yeah, the music was amazing, and every gym battle made me feel like I was there. Made me feel like I was a trainer on my adventure, just having a blast. All they really need to improve is graphics and animations. Well, they missed the dismount, but the rest of the comment's pretty good. What do you mean by Game Freak Redemption? Every game has a lot of fans. People hate certain games because people are hyped for something that didn't happen and they never learn from it. Also, don't expect an announcement until Pokemon says it'll happen. Be patient. Okay, pretty neutral comment. Honestly, Redemption really isn't that big. All we need is a fixed battle timer and things will go silent. Yeah, I feel like Bring Back National Dex did kind of burn themselves out and everything else is alright. The battle timer is the biggest issue because it's killing off the casual fun. I can't just run it down with my friends for a half hour because the battle timer caps at 20 minutes and we're not even anywhere near done with our battle. So that is a pretty massive issue. Timer has been just devastating in a majority of my battles. It's a shame. So yeah, will never be the redemption arc of Game Freak. They will never be redeemed, and that's it. And then we'll finish off with some Reddit. No, everything been about getting stuff rushed. I have hope for Generation 9 if they take an extra 2 years to make it as good as can be, but the game's probably just as rushed. This is pure stupidity. So give the game extra time, and then so they don't rush it, but it'll probably still be rushed, so Game Freak just sucks no matter what they do. See, when you put someone in a losing situation like this is also another problem with the internet, is that when someone creates their opinion, they are unwilling to change. And no matter how good the games are, this person will commit to what they have already committed to, and they're going to stay against Game Freak because that is what they have built up. That is what they have been told is cool by social media. No, and then this one, honestly, I don't think so on either count. I don't mind going into my reasons for thinking so, and I gladly will, but it all boils down to Game Freak not being the developer they once were. There's really nothing to support that. If you look at what Game Freak has been up to, they are more confident in themselves. They are more confident in how they want to represent Pokemon than ever before. You can't look at Pokemon Generations, Twilight Wings, Gotcha music video, and just the Pokemon Sword and Shield announcement. Hell, let's throw in Pokemon Origins, that's still in kind of the same time frame, and say that Game Freak isn't the developer they once were. Once again, there's so much confidence. There's so much they want to express about Pokemon. Also the games themselves. Pokemon Let's Go being an adventure. Pokemon Sword and Shield having an amazing story and putting you in the Galar region and delivering on the open world Pokemon experience that people have wanted. and say that, no, that they're not the developer they once were. Nah. So, this is a kind of dual purpose video. Want to see what the community thinks, want to react to that, want to see how it's going, but also fill in some gaps. I asked a few questions recently about what people want to see for my content. A lot of questions about Game Freak and stuff. Even though I've said a lot of these things many times, a lot of people don't watch every video and extract every little thing I say, so they kind of like need their own videos at some point. But overall, that's what we got. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. Actually, closing thoughts on the video, because I really didn't answer the question. I just responded to other people's answers of the question, but those responses make it feel really weird, because most of them are just like, no, Game Freak is irredeemable. So it's gonna be hard to see how that will make Gen 4 the redemption. But one thing that has me worried is that people that are even bullish on Generation 4 remakes being good, or already have faith in Game Freak, they're just like, yeah, Game Freak doesn't need to be redeemed, or yeah, they can redeem it for me, but I don't know about other people. There's really just a lot of worry. There's a lot of concern towards the general attitude of the Pokemon community right now, so it really just kind of confirms when I say it's like, yeah, Pokemon's pretty dead right now, because even the people that care about Pokemon, even the people that are still like big fans of Pokemon right now, is like, but everyone else hates it, so what's the point? And that's kind of where we're at. So if you guys enjoyed the video, wait, I already did that.